What is going on, guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be doing Axe and why he has a 52.92% win rate. This hero has honestly been pretty much at the top of the win rates for a really long time, despite the fact that he's been nerfed pretty much for the last few patches. At least he's been nerfed, which kind of sucks because I really love this hero, but there's really not a whole lot they can do to Axe to really nerf him. Now sure, they nerfed his counter helix, they also nerfed his facet, which is really strong, the one-man army facet, which is pretty much the one everyone is choosing, but the other facet is actually pretty strong as well. They've also nerfed his innate, so pretty much everything about Axe has been nerfed, but has been minor nerfs, nothing out of the ordinary, so nothing super crazy where the hero is unplayable. Nevertheless, they're still nerfs. I do think he might get a mini buff in the next patch, so hopefully he does. Either way, he still has a 52, almost 53% win rate, which makes him a really strong hero, and maybe you guys should consider learning how to play Axe or using him more often in your pubs. He is a really strong offlaner and can definitely turn the tides of a game pretty much single-handedly in terms of how much high impact call actually has. So first, let's break down what one-man army actually does. So basically, this facet helps Axe gain strength based on his armor, and if he's away from his allies in a 700 distance, you're able to actually get that buff. Now it still lingers for about 3 seconds. It used to be 5 seconds, so that was a nerf as well. More or less, you're going to be going for a lot more solo pickoffs, but even if you're with your team, you're not going to be getting these buffs for a long time, but 3 seconds is quite a bit. If you're around your team, you blink in, your team is all around you, you're still going to have these buffs. It's just going to go away after 3 seconds, but 3 seconds is quite a bit of time, especially in the mid to late game where team fights are very fast paced. Not only that, Axe is a very fast paced hero when it comes to blinking in and calling multiple enemy heroes. You can easily get rid of them, and it's pretty much the highest win rate facet you can go for on the Axe. So the build for Axe honestly never changes a whole lot, but it has deviated slightly. So you still go for the phase boots, the vanguard, the blade mail, the blank, all the essentials, but you start pivoting into Aghanim Scepter, Bloodstone, and eventually a Kaya Sange. You can get a BKB if need be, but the Aghanim Scepter is really nice. That battle hunger is gonna give you a lot more chip damage. It's nothing crazy, it's not mind-boggling damage. It's definitely very underrated, and with the Bloodstone, you're gonna be healing quite a bit because you're going to be healing from counter helix. You're also going to be healing from battle hunger. That's going to be very important. It's going to make you very sustainable, and the Kaya Sange is obviously going to boost that, but that is pretty much the last item you get. You can get Kaya Sange right after the Aghanim Scepter if need be. If you really want that before the Bloodstone, you could. It is pretty decent stats, and Axe definitely likes Kaya Sange. It is very nice. You could also get the regular Sanyasha. It's not terrible, but I just think Kaya Sange is much better when it comes to this build. But again, you can pick up the BKB if you really need it. You can get an Assault Cuirass if there's just heavy physical damage that you're not able to deal with quite yet until you build up those armor stacks. It's very important that you guys are looking for team fights as much as possible on the Axe after you hit your crucial timings. That is something I can't stress enough every time I make an Axe video, because I see the same mistakes in my pubs all the time. Everybody's trying to be extremely active, and just because you got a few kills in the laning phase doesn't mean you can just go rotate lane after lane. You need to get that blink dagger, you need to get that blade mail, at least the blink dagger. If you want to be really active, at least get the blink dagger and have some follow-up from your teammates. You can still make that work. When you don't have any way to actually bridge the gap, you're not going to be doing a whole lot, and that kind of sucks. You're going to be wasting your time. Most of the time you're going to get stunned, people are just going to run away from you, and you're not going to get a whole lot of value. Now once you have that blink dagger and that blade mail, you're definitely a really big threat on the map, so that's your go time. All the other items you're going to be able to farm later, and the more kills you get, the more armor stacks you're going to have, which is very important because you can infinitely scale with this. There's no maximum pretty much, so you can just unlimitedly build armor stacks the more kills you guys are getting, and 3 times the bonus if you do hit that dunk with the culling blade. Overall, a super underrated hero. Even though his win rate is super high, I don't see this hero nearly enough in my pubs. And even if you're not a fan of this build, you can also go for the aura build. It's not as good in my opinion. You can get the blink dagger into a pipe, you can eventually get into Guardian Greaves, you can get the Assault Cuirass, pretty much every aura in the book. You can build it. You're going to be super tanky in the front line, but it's just not what Axe's playstyle is all about, which is about initiating and getting dunks and getting these high level calls. That's what's really important, but you can play to your heart's content by playing auras. It's not a grief. It is okay. It's just not optimal to play Axe this way. Now let's break down some of the best and worst matchups for Axe so you guys have an idea on some of the situations you guys should be playing the Axe into or against. Some of the best matchups are Anti-Mage, Juggernaut, Troll Warlord, Phantom Assassin, Naga Siren. Heroes like Anti-Mage and Juggernaut honestly hate Axe. They're very brutal matchups. Alchemist as well hates Axe. These are the types of heroes that don't want to be locked down. They're the ones who want to be free and roaming around the map. They want to do whatever they want. Every time I'm playing Axe against Anti-Mage or Juggernaut or Troll Warlord, I'm constantly hunting them in the jungle. I'm getting supports to rotate into my lane and constantly getting kills onto them because there's not a whole lot. Juggernaut can spin as much as he wants. You're still going to be able to call. You're still going to be able to do a shit ton of damage and pretty much take him out very, very quickly. Even if he Omni Slash you, chances are call is going to be off cooldown again and you're going to get a ton of armor and he's not going to be able to take care of you, especially if you have a Vanguard. It's super difficult for that Omni Slash to even tickle you. So it's a very difficult matchup. Same with Anti-Mage. Sure, you're not going to have a whole lot of mana and that's where Wand comes in or a Soul Ring. You need to make sure you have mana. You can also get mana boots. It's not a complete grief on the Axe. I think it's pretty decent if you are facing up against the Anti-Mage because you will have a lot of mana issues, but I think Soul Ring is the much better option. You can get the mana boots and eventually get a Guardian Greaves if you're trying to kind of mix and match and get some auras. It's definitely okay. It's not terrible. Some of the bad matchups are OD, Necrophos, Viper, Batrider, Timbersaw. Huskar to a certain extent is pretty good up against the Axe, but heroes like Necrophos and Viper are pretty brutal matchups. It can suck when you see a Viper in your lane, even support Vipers. It's just very difficult for you to do a whole lot. If you're able to jump them and get the call, yeah, you can do a whole lot of damage and be able to take them out. It won't be as difficult, but if they're the ones sitting on top of you constantly, that can become a really big problem. So try and prioritize heroes like Viper and getting on top of them quickly and blowing them up as fast as possible so they're not breaking you with their abilities or just pretty much canceling your blink non-stop. Heroes like Venomancer are also really brutal against the Axe because you depend a lot on your blink. They're just going to be canceling your blink with damage over time in the slows. It's a very big pain in the ass to go up against any of these heroes. And Timbersaw pretty much ignores you completely. You can call the Timbersaw and it really doesn't do anything. It's such a very difficult matchup for the Axe. Honestly, not unplayable, but it's most likely not going to be your job to actually take care of the Timbersaw because you're not going to be doing a whole lot of damage. But typically Axe is the anti-carry hero. He likes to go up against these carry matchups where he's able to lock them down and they don't want to be locked down and they have to actually build to try and mitigate the Axe as much as possible. Items like Sanjanyasha or items like Force Staff to get away from the call. There's a lot of things the enemy team actually has to do just because there's an Axe in the game and they're going to be a lot more careful. And if you're a very sneaky Axe and you're going for a lot of solo plays, the enemy team will fear you, which is very important for you guys to get into this playing style where you're going for a lot of solo pickoffs or at least with one support. You're constantly smoking once you hit these timings. You're going to be able to put fear into the enemy because every time they see the Axe with another support, you're going to be getting kills. Very important for you guys to be active and try and pair Axe with heroes like Invoker for you to get that Sunstrike. That's going to be really nice. You used to be able to pair him with Dark Willow, but that no longer works because you're not able to cast Bedlam on an ally. It has to be on herself, so that's a little bit rough. But on Grimstroke is really good as well with the Inkswell. Very important, very solid matchups. Lich is not a bad matchup with the Axe. So these types of heroes that are able to do some AoE damage, Sunstrikes, all these are going to help you get more dunks and be a lot more active and have that extra damage because sometimes you're really close to getting the kill but you're just not able to. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about Axe's patch. I think he's still really solid despite the nerfs and I think you guys should be picking him in your pubs. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.